Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. I hope you guys had a good weekend. For those of you who had a long weekend, I'm really excited to know what you guys did. So if you did something creative, I know because we're all at home, do let me know in the comments below. I'm eager to find out what you guys did. But if you are joining us for the first time today, CELPIP will be going live Tuesday and Friday at 9:30 a.m. PST. During these difficult times, we want to make sure we are here for you as much as possible and are constantly trying new ways to provide support for you. In today's episode, we're talking about our Path to Success map and checklist. As usual, Brandi and Meaghan will be here to help us out with our next segment. But if you already have questions, you know what to do. Please comment below. In the previous episode, we spoke about our newest feature, the downloadable score reports. I hope you're all making really good use of that. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, please find the link to the description of our previous episode. Please find the link to our previous episode in the description below. And I also want to remind you about our free and discounted prep resources. CELPIP Accelerate is free and all our practice tests are half off. And all these are available only until April 15th, which is just one day away. So I urge you to make use of this as soon as possible. Again, the link for that is in the description below as well. And now for those of you who have open test centers in your area and will be testing this weekend, I wish you all good luck. I hope today's video will give you some additional support. We would also like to assure you that we are doing everything we can to make sure that we maintain safety procedures while you take your test. If you would like to know about the measures we are taking, we have compiled this video for you.
We understand how important the CELPIP and CALE tests are to your journeys to immigrate to and study in Canada. We are committed to resuming testing operations where possible. As we begin testing again, our priority is your safety. We have taken several steps to ensure everyone's safety in the test center and in our communities. In order to reduce the number of people in the test rooms to allow for physical distancing, we have reduced the capacity of our test sittings and will continue to do so until physical distancing measures are lifted. As recommended by Health Canada, before each test sitting, all surfaces and equipment is disinfected, including the lockers where your belongings are stored during the test. When you check in for your test, we ask that you maintain 2 meters of physical distance from fellow test takers and personnel. You are welcome to bring and wear your own mask. If you arrive without a mask, we reserve the right to ask you to put one on before checking in, as long as the test center can provide you with one. Please note that test takers that do not bring masks will still be allowed to take the test. You are welcome to bring and use your own disposable gloves. Please keep in mind that gloves can be contaminated, just like bare hands. During check-in, you will be asked to hold your ID at eye level. If you are wearing a mask, you must lower it so that your identity can be verified. This includes ID checks at the beginning and end of your test. You will be asked to sanitize your hands before placing your ID on the scanner. During the signature process, you may be asked to sign the back of your notepaper and hold it up to the camera. When you are seated at your station, you may lower or remove your mask. For the speaking part, we ask that you remove your mask for recording clarity. We understand if you want to reschedule your test to a later time. Transferring your test is free of charge and can be done through your online account. We thank you for your patience and understanding.
Okay, great. I hope that video was assuring, but if you aren't comfortable testing and are looking to transfer your tests, I do want to let you know that you can do so yourself in your account in just 3 steps. What you will have to do first is, of course, access your CELPIP account. Once you sign in to your CELPIP account, under the heading Upcoming Test, look for Actions and then click Transfer to a different sitting. You will then be able to transfer your test to your preferred date, time, and location, and then follow all prompted steps and click Place Order to complete your transfer. Do not worry, these transfers are free, so you will not be charged for anything. Another thing I want to tell you is that if you are looking for more information about the CELPIP test as it relates to COVID-19, I would encourage you to visit the COVID-19 page on our website. We are doing our best to make sure we provide all the updated information there, and you will find anything that you need to know about COVID and the CELPIP test on that page. Okay, let's now move on to our main segment of the day, the Path to Success map and checklist. Now, as you know, the CELPIP test has a lot of preparation materials available for you. We have over 10 hours of free webinars, there is a free sample test, and then there is also another practice test when you create your own account in the CELPIP website. And apart from these free resources, we also have a lot of paid resources available at the CELPIP store. And it's easy for you, especially someone like me, it's easy for me to get overwhelmed and lost a little bit with all these resources. I don't know where I'm supposed to start. I don't know what I'm supposed to end with. And so that's why we created this map and checklist. It gives you kind of like a path to follow all the way up to test day. So Brandi and Meaghan are here to talk about that. And as usual, I would encourage you to ask your questions below. Hi, Brandi and Meaghan. How are you guys
Hi.
doing?
We're very well. Thank you, Ashwani. How are you doing today? Did you enjoy the long weekend at home?
I did. I had lots of fun. I didn't do anything much, but that was fun for me. What about you?
I ate far too much chocolate, but yes, obviously quiet as we're all self-isolating, but at least we enjoyed the sunshine from outside the window. So that was something.
Great. Hi, Meaghan. How are you? Meaghan,
Yeah. Sorry about that. I am doing great. I'm here at my house with my cat, Larry. Hi, everybody. Happy to be here after the long weekend.
great. Okay, so I'm going to jump in to this Paths to Success segment that we have with the first question. Ideally, how long does it take to properly prepare for the CELPIP test?
That would entirely depend on how much preparation you've done in the past, I would say. So there are two things really that we have to make sure we're well prepared for. The first thing would be the content and the structure of the test. So we have to understand exactly which skills it is we're expected to produce during the testing time. The second thing that we have to spend much time preparing for, of course, would be to practice and develop our language skills. So Meaghan and I will start today by going over some of the overview webinars that we have, and we'll talk about our products that are available to you as well to study. So if you've taken some of our webinars in the past, you'll notice that we have an introductory webinar that we simply call CELPIP Get the Facts. This is an ideal place to start if you don't know much about the content and structure of the test. It will give you information about the 4 areas, so reading, writing, listening, and speaking. We'll talk about the skill sets that you need to be successful. We'll go over a couple of introductory type questions to give you a sense of the complexity on the test as well. And it will also include discussions about what you can expect on test day and so on. Once you've taken that webinar and it's absolutely free, the next step would be to go to the celpip.ca website and find the list of the other free webinars there. There's a schedule that we update. We've added in many more free webinars as well, as we're all studying from home at the moment. And the 2 most popular webinars that we have there are in the speaking and the writing series. I'll maybe address the speaking ones, and then I'll toss it over to Meaghan to talk a little bit about the writing series. So our speaking webinars have been divided into 2 different levels. We have a speaking target 5 and a speaking target 9. The Target 9 webinars have also been divided into 2 different webinars for you, so a part 1 and a part 2. And the whole focus of these webinars is to take you through the entirety of the speaking section of the CELPIP test. So you will go through tasks 1 to 8. We'll look at sample responses from past test takers. We'll analyze these responses and we'll work on improving them to help you understand what is required at each level. We also throw in some practice for you at home, where we give you some practice questions and you can practice as well your own speaking. And we meet sort of in an online forum to discuss the strengths and the challenges that you experienced while going through that. I'll maybe toss it over to Meaghan to talk a little bit more about the writing webinars too that we also offer.
Sure. So yeah, we have, in the same way that we have Target 5 and Target 9 for speaking, we also have a Target 5 and a Target 9 webinar for writing. Each one is 2 hours long, and actually Writing Pro Target 9 is running tomorrow. So if anyone is interested, you can sign up for that. There's still plenty of time and lots of spots. So Target 5 is a webinar where we kind of talk about the basics of writing an email and also a survey response, because those are the two writing tasks on the CELPIP test. We go through step by step how to structure them, and we talk about the important skills that you need to work on to get in the area of a Target 5 or whatever you're looking for around that area. If you're hoping for a higher score, that's okay. You can still attend the Target 5 webinars and the information will still apply to you. And then the Target 9 webinar focuses more on really bumping your score up into that higher level, sort of lower advanced range of writing. So we talk about more advanced skills and structures that you can work on, and we talk about strategies that can help you to make those kind of small improvements that can have a big impact. So both of those, like Speaking Pro, come with a study pack after the webinar. So you will get access to all of the questions, sample responses, and analysis that we go through, which can be very helpful. And that is all free. So we definitely hope you'll take advantage and join us for those.
Great. So now that we spoke about webinars, maybe we should move on to the next segment and talk about the sample test questions. I'm assuming that's the next step in the Paths to Success chart.
Yes, absolutely. So again, I would recommend that our test takers out there try all of our free products first. So take the webinars. You also have access to 2 free practice tests. So the first practice test you'll find on the CELPIP.ca website. So after you've understood sort of how the test is put together, and you've had a chance to look at some of these sample responses that we go through in our webinar, I would encourage you all to try your hand at the practice test. So you would take the entire test from start to finish in the comfort of your own home, of course, for practice. It's about a 3-hour test, so it gives you a pretty good indication about what your strengths and your own challenges are, so that you know where to devote your time as you continue to practice at home. Once you create a CELPIP account, you do have access to a second free practice test. All right, so again, you'll be able to answer these questions from, if it's the general test, of course, you'll have the reading, writing, speaking, and listening segments available there. You will be able to check your answers for the reading and listening sections there too. So that's quite a bit of help. And again, these live webinars that we do, as well as our CELPIP Live now, give you access to us in live time to continue to ask your questions specifically about little areas that you want to improve. The questions on these practice tests are very comparable to what you would experience, of course, on the real test. There are different versions of the test. You're not always going to have the same question for every test taker out there, of course, for test security. But the level of complexity is generally the same across the board for those tests. So do please take advantage of the 2 free tests we offer. When you've done the 2 free tests, if you want more practice tests, you certainly can do that. We have lots of paid materials available on our website on the bookstore link. There are currently 7 different sets of practice tests available, and each set that you purchase includes 2 complete practice tests. So if you were to buy all 7 sets, that would give you access to 14 practice tests in the entirety. Ashwati did mention that there is a discount on prices right now till tomorrow, which is April the 15th. So all of our practice tests are currently half price at the moment. If you were to buy one individual test at the moment, it would cost you $17.50 Canadian. You can also bundle the tests as well. So if you were to buy all 7 tests at the moment, it would only cost you, or all 7 sets rather, which is 14 tests. The price at the moment is $75, and that discounted price is available up until tomorrow, April the 15th. So you're welcome to take advantage of that right now at this time, for sure.
Great. I hope that answered your question. One of you asked us, Romulo, you asked us about the practice tests and how it compares to the real test, and Brandi was just just gave us an explanation. So I hope you got that question answered. Brandi, I think we should move on to test taking and the step 4 on the path to success chart.
Sure. So, sorry, are we talking about test taking specifically? Do we
Yes.
want to talk?
Owing to the situation that we are now in the COVID-19 situation. So I'm assuming if we have anything, obviously please correct me if we've missed out a step, but I'm assuming the next step is step 4 on the path to success chart.
Okay, let's spend a few moments maybe talking a little bit more about some of the other instructional products, though, that are also available. So practice tests are certainly helpful to get you prepared for the real thing and an authentic test-taking situation. But there are many other paid materials that you can access on the website as well. So the webinars we deliver offer lots of sample response analysis in both writing and speaking. If you were to look on the bookstore website, you'll see other resources available there too that include the reading and writing. So if you look at the study guides in particular, they're displayed for a listening speaking component and a reading writing component as well. These are materials that you would have access to for 6 months as a subscription, and they do take you through an overview of the entire test. They do talk about strategies that you'll need to be successful on the test itself. They give you prompts question by question. So they'll give you sort of one sample question from a past test. They'll look at how you would answer that. And then at the end of that, after you've walked through it step by step, you also have access to another free practice test. So those are the study guides. Meaghan, did you want to talk a little bit about the practice and analysis package as well? It's a really good one too.
Sure, yeah, and that one is discounted as well up until tomorrow. So if you like to practice and learn information by reading, practice and analysis might be a good choice. A lot of people go with CELPIP Accelerate, which is a video-based program and is absolutely free right now. So definitely recommend grabbing that before tomorrow when it's going to go back to its regular price. So CELPIP Accelerate is video-based, but practice and analysis is written information. So it includes a full practice test that is different from the others that we sell on our store. And it also includes lots of additional information in written form. So you read through some strategies and suggestions and tips and instructions for handling each of the different types of questions on the test. And along with that, you can have the experience of going through that test start to finish as a practice test as well. So that's a product that you can definitely take advantage of if you're like me and you like reading. That is one option that you have.
Great. Sorry, guys, I was on mute. I forget sometimes. So I'm paying attention to what Meaghan and Brandi are saying. Sometimes I get lost. So sorry about that. I am back. Okay, so I've understood about the practice test, the paid materials, and the sample test. What about the next steps? What do we do after that?
Right. So after you've practiced the materials available to you there, the best way to develop your language skills, of course, is to produce these skills in the real world. So attending these free webinars and trying your hand at some of these practice questions is wonderful, but we really do need to keep up the consistency of using the English language, especially if it's not your first language. So this is a language you're learning. It really develops only with persistence and patience and time. So if you are taking some of the vocabulary that you're learning from these tests, perhaps, and you're having conversations on a daily basis with other native speakers or language speakers in general, practice these in the real world. That's what we really need to keep it current, I think. Depending on when your test is scheduled for. So again, we're in the middle of this COVID-19 outbreak. So we're waiting for many of our test centers to open up worldwide. So it's great to use this time as we're self-isolating to prepare for the language test, but we definitely have to keep that going. We have to keep it up, do a little bit each day, and don't take a week or two off as you're waiting for that test center to reopen, because we want your skills to remain sharp. So the best way any of us will improve, of course, is to produce these skills, particularly with the speaking and also with the writing. You can do the writing, of course, all by yourself. You can keep a little journal at home. You can keep a little diary. You can write about what you wish. But learning collocations and common expressions and language and that sort of thing and practicing them out will help you tremendously in especially the writing and speaking areas of this test for sure. Meaghan, sorry, I was going to toss it over to Meaghan to see if she has any other tips as we're studying from home.
Yeah, I definitely would echo that. Working on English, if you can, every day is very important. It's really helpful to do our webinars and learn the structure and the format of the test, but there's also learning the language itself. And so there's really no substitute for reading every day and listening to podcasts or watching TV in English, practicing your writing with other people that may be prepping for the test. You can do that with speaking as well. There are tutors who will help online, and being able to interact with somebody that way can be extremely helpful. There are lots of instructors worldwide that are certified CELPIP instructors, and lots of them are working online right now. So definitely attend the webinars and get ready for the test itself. But the bigger part, I would say, is getting comfortable with English, and that is going to happen in a wide range of ways. And I guess now is kind of a strange time, but one of the advantages is that you do have this extra time to keep practicing, and so you might as well take advantage of that while you can.
Great. So I will be asking you questions now that we have been getting from test takers, but before I do that, I do want to tell you guys that, again, if you are worried about your test centers being still closed, like Brandi mentioned, please check out our COVID-19 page on our website. You can also watch our previous episode that we have, where we had somebody from customer service come and tell us about what they're doing towards the measures towards your test taking process. So I would encourage you to check out our CELPIP live series on YouTube. So moving on. So Meaghan, I have a question for you. Since you did speak about tutors, is it necessary that everybody do they have to hire a tutor? Does the tutor need to have any specific knowledge about the CELPIP test, or just any English tutor will do?
I mean, I think it very much depends on the test taker. I think some people probably should have some sort of instructor, whether that's a tutor or a prep course. And I know that it may be something difficult to have a full class in these times, but there are definitely tutors who work one-on-one. And even just getting an hour or two of feedback that is personalized, especially on your productive skills, writing and speaking, can be really helpful. I would say to try to find somebody who is familiar with the test, who does know the format of the test and the expectations, the performance standards, the things that our raters look for when they listen or read your responses, and somebody, who is comfortable teaching the types of questions and preparing you for the types of situations that you will encounter on the test. Their language level should be good. Ideally, of course, that's great. If you're able to find somebody who's at a very advanced level of English, of course, that's going to be helpful. And aside from that, I think you have to know them and trust them, and you have to like them, because it can be challenging, and it can be difficult to speak or write for another person. So I think having a good connection with that person is important as well.
Sounds great. With regards to, if we're going back to regular practice tests that we have available on our website, and the free products that we have available, especially talking about webinars, do you suggest attending every webinar? Is it helpful to take the webinars more than once? How many times is suitable?
I think, again, it's a bit of a subjective choice. So certainly the webinars are free, so anyone can take them as many times as they wish. After you've seen them a few times, though, we have to remember that the sample responses we're looking at, the content, is the same for those webinars. So we are giving a live presentation, so sometimes we'll have different questions and discussions around them, But once you've taken each webinar 2 or even 3 times, I think at that point you would be ready to move on and focus more of your time into taking the skills you've learned from those webinars and producing them so that you can target your own strengths and weaknesses. So as Meaghan just mentioned, working with the tutor is one way to do that. You do have access to the scoring rubric or checklist, if you will. You know very well on the website, you'll see exactly what the raters are looking for when they score your test. So part of the skills that you can do if you're working either on your own or with the tutor is look at your own writing, look at your own speaking responses, and sit down with that tutor and have a look at where your responses measure up on the CELPIP rating band. All right, it won't be an official score, of course, because you're not an official CELPIP rater, but I think one skill that we all would benefit from is being able to assess our own work. We have to have a pretty good understanding about our own strengths and our own challenges as we prepare for this. So the more that you're aware of your own skill set, the more likely you will be to have success on these tests. So again, those webinars are helpful to give you the foundation, but it's really up to each of the individual test takers to use those skills and apply them to their own skills, because we're all different. We're all good at certain things and have other things that we need to work with. Yeah, for sure.
Great. Yes, we are all different. And so keeping that in mind, how do we finally know when we're ready to take the test with all the practice and all the tutoring? How do we know? At what point do we realize, okay, I'm confident enough to do this by myself?
I don't know if there's an official moment that occurs to somebody, or the timing of test taking in a lot of cases is sort of, there are outside pressures and considerations and deadlines, and so I think for some people it might be good to actually schedule your test in 6 months or something like that, and then work toward that goal so that you kind of have a schedule to work with, and you can focus on specific things and building your skills to that day. I think that when you are feeling confident is a good sign that you're ready to take the test. When you feel that you have done all the prep you can do and you are very confident about the structure of the test and there aren't going to be any surprises on test day as far as that goes. I think that, yeah, when you're feeling good about it, that's probably a good sign. And beyond that, all you can do is your best. So going in, knowing your strengths and weaknesses and having some strategies for doing your best with that information, with your skills, is crucial. Yeah, I don't know if Brandi has any thoughts on this, but I don't know if there's a sort of light bulb moment of like, yes, now I'm ready, or if you kind of have to make yourself ready and just go do it and do your best at it.
Yeah, I really like the idea of having a goal. So realistically, we don't want to say, okay, I'm going to start studying now and next week I'll take the test. I don't think that is a very realistic goal. But if you give yourself several months to prepare, so that if you're looking at the calendar 6 months from now and you mark that down in writing and commit to it, you'll be able to sort of draw up your own study schedule and pace yourself. The human brain, I don't think, can absorb information if you're cramming 5 hours worth of studying every day, right? So if you can decide which skills you want to target leading up to that, that's helpful. You certainly do need to feel confident. It will be normal to be a little nervous and anxious. That just shows that you care about the outcome of this test, as it is an important test for all of us to take. But by the time you're feeling like you know the test inside out, you know, as Meaghan said, what types of questions you'll be answering, you've done your practice, then that's a good indication that it's time to try your hand. I will say that some of our test takers will take our test once. They're maybe not, they didn't quite achieve the score that they were hoping for. You can certainly retest. But again, we have to look at the feedback you receive in your score report. So we'll use speaking as an example. You'll get a little write-up on the score report indicating certain areas that you can work on as you continue to develop those skills. So we do encourage you to take that feedback and take another several weeks or even several months really to really brush up on those skills before you re-attempt the test. It's very common for people to say, you know, I'm stuck at level 5, for example, and I really want to get to level 6. What can I do? So you'll be able to find some specific feedback there. Again, a lot of our own materials, whether they're the webinars or whether they're the paid materials online, they'll give you little sample analysis responses at each of the different levels. So you'll see very clearly what a level 7, 8 looks like and why that is. And then you'll see another sample response that's in the levels 10 to 12 range. And then you'll be able to compare the differences between those. Once you've done that on your own, sit with a tutor or somebody who has very advanced skills. And again, look at the checklist there and discuss how those sample responses lay out. So take it when you're confident. If you do not, at the first attempt, receive the score that you're looking for, then put in more time to prepare and take it when you're feeling ready to go there as well. And it's not a magical answer, but hopefully you'll notice in your gut that you're feeling more confident and ready to go with the test there.
Okay, great. So I know we were talking about the original question of this was, how do I know when I'm ready to take the test? And the reason I'm repeating this is because we have had a user who just asked us the same thing while you were in the middle of answering it. So Kanchana, just if you are still wondering about the question, I suggest you wait for the video to get over and then go scroll back and watch it, or you can just scroll back now. I don't know how this works. But anyway, so I hope that answered your question. Brandi, you were talking about scoring a little bit, and I just wanted to clarify a little more about how the rubric works. And then, because sometimes I see that a few of our test takers have questions about the reading section scores. So if you could tell us a little bit more about that, that would be great. We do have a couple of people here who are looking for a little more information.
Yes, I see a question there on the live stream, somebody talking about the score that they'd received. Now, the score you'd mentioned was a 5.5, and I'll just mention that we don't have half scores on the CELPIP test. So the scores range from a level M, which is the beginning level entry, up to a level 12. So that's sort of how the scores there are presented. Again, if you look at any of the packages, any of the materials, or the CELPIP.ca website, we'll have a list of the levels and a very simple sentence sort of explaining what you're able to produce then if you're working at that level. So that is a bare introduction for sure. Again, you'll get a lot more in-depth analysis and discussion in these webinars I've mentioned, as well as these sample response analysis packages that you can purchase from the CELPIP.ca bookstore as well. So really the only way to understand fully what each of those scores is looking at is to see sample answers and responses given from past test takers like yourselves. So not only are we identifying what they did well to receive the score they did, we're also looking at what they could further do to improve that. And you'll see examples given on how to workshop, in some cases, these skill sets to bring them up as well. One other strategy I was just thinking as we're talking about all these strategies, we haven't at all addressed today the benefit of having a study group. So if you have other friends out there who are studying, not just for the CELPIP test, but maybe just looking at developing their language skills, I think there's a lot of benefit in working together there. Regardless of whether you're native speakers or not, you have a better understanding at how easily you are being understood by other people when you're speaking directly with them. So as we're working from home, clearly, we aren't meeting face-to-face in a regular classroom setting, but we are using Zoom and other platforms as well. So I would really encourage you to get together with like-minded friends and people who are looking to develop their skills. If you are living at home with a family member as well, you can certainly practice out your speaking skills with them as well. So you'll be receiving feedback from people that know you well and who you're comfortable with, and they can let you know as well if they're understanding what it is you're saying and not, that sort of thing. So, we have to use the resources that are available to us readily right now as we're in this unusual time. So that would be another strategy that I would consider some of you to really take seriously at this moment, for sure.
I love that strategy. It's a really good strategy. It always helps, as long as you don't get distracted. It's a great suggestion. So yeah, I hope you guys were able to, I hope that answered your question. Akshay, especially, you were asking about scores, so I hope Brandi was able to help you out with regards to free videos and sample papers. There is a link in the description box below where you can access our free products. So I urge you to check them out. We have a sample test as well as another practice test as soon as you make your account on our CELPIP website. So you get 2 tests for free to practice. And because of the COVID situation, we're also giving a discount on our usual practice tests. So I encourage you to check them out as well. So thank you, Brandi and Meaghan. I think that's all the questions we have so far. If you'd like to say anything more, the floor is yours. But otherwise, I'm really happy that you were able to join us here.
I just want to thank all of our viewers for joining us today again, and thank you for your insightful questions. We really hope that you continue to remain calm and healthy and safe at home as you continue to prepare and wait for the world to get back to normal.
Yeah, I would just say thank you for your questions, and keep them coming for sure. We're going to be here on Tuesdays, and we're happy to. We like the challenge. So thank you very much for all the great questions you've had so far, and hopefully you'll be able to keep watching, and we'll be able to keep helping you.
Great. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I hope that Brandi and Meaghan were able to give you a better idea on how to organize your study time. And if you found this video helpful, I encourage you to please give it a thumbs up and also share it with anybody you think might find it useful. There's a link below in the description for you to share this video with somebody. So if you did, please let us know. For the next episode, I would like to talk to you about what we're planning. We have a guest who will be joining us from Canada Visa. Now, I understand that because of all these cancellations and these suspensions and just so much, uncertainty, I'm sure a lot of you have questions about how this affects immigration process and how this affects your progress in terms of your, immigration. So we do have somebody coming to us, joining us this Friday, which is on the 17th. This will be an immigration expert from Canada Visa. And I'm pretty sure this will be very helpful for all of you. So I encourage you to please join us this Friday, 9:30 a.m. PST, the 17th of April. And if you're not able to join us, make sure you ask any of your questions. You can comment here below if you're already with us right now. And if not, you can always reach out to us on Instagram. You can also send your videos to us at communications@celpip.ca. I would also like to let you know that our social media is very active. Our Instagram page, our Facebook page is always giving you new updates about what is happening. So I encourage you to check us out there as well. Our IDs will be on the screen above, so please give us a follow and please talk to us. We're always open to engaging with you. If you have any suggestions on who you would like to see next, which expert you would like to talk to, or just any other content that you're looking for, please write it down. Please write your suggestions down in the comments below, and we will try to see that it happens. But as always, I thank you so much for being here and ask that you subscribe to our channel and click on the bell notification to get your regular reminders. Again, if this video was helpful, please don't hesitate to give us a like and do share it with anybody you think might feel better after watching it. But as usual, feel free to suggest and comment below whatever you want. But until this Friday, I will see you, and I hope you take care of yourself. Bye.